Ladies and gentlemen, grab your pen and paper and write down 3 things you're grateful for. This is OD on Life. Come get high with us.
Hey everybody, it's Dan O'Donnell here. Welcome to OD on Life. First of all, I'm sorry it's been so long since I've put out an episode, but honestly, I bet most of you haven't even noticed because you have a life and you have things to do other than worry about when I'm going to put out my next episode, or at least I hope that's true, so I can let myself off the hook a little bit. What I want to talk about today, you guys, is something that I end up thinking this and saying this quite a bit, and I don't think I've ever really mentioned it explicitly in this podcast. And that's the idea that if you are a reliable, trustworthy person, that in my mind is about the easiest way. If you just follow through on what you say you're going to do, it's about the easiest way to put yourself ahead of probably 75% of people in the world. And that's not a scientific number. That's just my estimate based on personal experience. But I've found that sadly, I guess, or happily, depending on how you're looking at it, you just can't count on a lot of people in the world. I would say you can't count on most people in the world to consistently do what they say they are going to do. So what that means to you is if you can be one of those people who follow through consistently, you will put yourself, funny enough, in this elite league of people that can do that. And you will just blow by other people and get opportunities that you might not have otherwise gotten because other people dropped the ball. And if you can just prove yourself and show, not tell, but show yourself to be reliable, you'll open up doors for yourself. So I've always said that, if and when I have kids, this is going to be one of my main focuses with them is building integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. And you know what? If things change, you've changed your plans, you're not going to do something you had planned on doing, take responsibility for that, apologize if it's necessary, and move forward, explain the situation, show that you're not just flaking out without a phone call or without an email or without any kind of notice to anybody, and that you think it is significant if you are changing your plans from what you said you were going to do. Make sure that people know that, hey, this is a big deal. I hope I'm not inconveniencing you. Here's why I need to make this change. I hope you can understand that, and I apologize. And if there's anything I can do to make it right, let me know. That's just part of having integrity. So I think part of where this was drilled into me and why it became so important to me and why I saw the benefit of it was high school sports, specifically football. I played football and baseball. To be honest, baseball was usually pretty easy and fun. It didn't really test you as far as discipline, but football did. And I actually remember the first day of football practice I ever went to. I was in 7th grade. I was probably 12, and I almost quit because we just ran more than I had ever run in my life, which wasn't saying much. But a few laps around the field, some sprints, some conditioning stuff, and I felt like I was going to die because I just didn't know really what that feeling was. And of course, I was out of shape because I hadn't done it. I came pretty close to quitting football that day, but I didn't. And I remember talking to a guy named Sean Waterman, I think his name was. And we were sitting out waiting for our ride after practice. And I said, man, this was not fun. I think I might quit. He's like, what? Why would you quit? In a couple weeks, we're going to be hitting and throwing the football around and whatever. And so he pretty much convinced me not to. And I ended up playing through high school. And I think I learned a lot of discipline from it. And one specific example I remember is when we're running sprints as a team, usually we're all lined up, maybe it's 50 guys wide on the football field. We're lined up on some yard line and we're running to some other yard line. Say it's a 40-yard sprint or a 100-yard sprint or whatever. The coaches would be at both ends and they would, first of all, watch to see if anybody goes before they say to go, right? Which is a big deal in football. And if anybody jumps, they normally would add one more sprint. So if we're doing 10 100-yard sprints and somebody jumps, we're going to run 11. And if you're on your last one and you think it's your last one and somebody jumps, that means you're going to have one more after this one. So creates focus and gives you an incentive to focus and pay attention even when you're tired. And focusing mentally when you're physically tired is an interesting thing. That's a whole nother topic. But anyway, what I'm getting at is at the end of the sprint, say it's a 100-yard sprint, the coaches are really watching that last 5 or 10 yards, because if anybody eases up and kind of coasts, through the end with just momentum, they can see that, they can tell, and the whole team that's not going to count. You're going to run another sprint. So if you thought that was your last one, no. And if you thought that was your first one, no. You're running an extra one. And that taught me, more than just sprinting through a line when you're on a football team. It taught me that, if you say you're going to do 10 sprints, you do 10 sprints. You don't do 9 3/4 sprints. You do 10 sprints. And that's a commitment you make to yourself and everybody else on the field. And if you don't do it, there's a consequence. And what really shows is if you're not fully committed and you do slack at the end, your coach is going to point that out, and everybody sees you as that type of a person. And of course, it's not just about sprints. It's at the time in your life, it's about homework. It's about a lot of different things outside of sports that carry through to the rest of your life. Okay, so why am I talking about high school football and sprints and running all the way through the line? The reason is I think that experience for me was the environment that made me decide to be the type of person that runs all the way through the line, right? The type of person that if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm there. And if for some reason I can't be there, I'm making the phone call saying, hey, I'm stuck in traffic, I'm going to be 10 minutes late, or whatever it is. I decided to just be a reliable person. So I'm wondering, and I'm guessing, that a lot of people may not have ever been put in a position like that where they have to decide, am I the type of person that runs all the way through the line? Am I the type of person that's reliable? Or am I the type of person who just no-shows a friend without even calling with no good reason? Because I guarantee you, if you're consistently doing that and not showing up for things or half-assing things, that there are doors that aren't opening for you. And if you want opportunities, one of the best ways you can do it is to just show yourself to be a reliable, trustworthy person. And it's funny, doors, I always make these metaphors or analogies or whatever they are, right? There are these doors that open for you if you're doing things in life in a certain way. But you don't see the doors that don't open necessarily. It's not like you're standing at the door hoping it's going to open. It's just all of a sudden, wow, there's this opportunity that you might not even, there might be somebody in your life who's kind of got their eye on you, considering you for some kind of position or opportunity. And you don't even realize that if you're not a reliable person, because they never bring it up. But, just showing yourself to be reliable in every way can really pay off in life. So I just want to put that out there to you and ask you, have you been consistent lately? Have you been reliable lately? Have you been the type of person that you would want to employ or partner with or be friends with? Think about that from other people's point of view. And if there's anything that you have dropped the ball on lately, can you make it right? Did you borrow a book from somebody a year ago and it's sitting there on your shelf and you keep thinking, man, I should get that back to that person, but it never makes it to the top of your priorities? Look at your life and say, is there anything I need to change? And would today be the right day to decide to begin to be a reliable person? At some point you make a decision. It doesn't matter your past. Yeah, you have habits, but there was a time in your life where you didn't yet have the habit of brushing your teeth, right? Or you thought tying your shoes was hard, but over time it got easier. So would today be a great day for you to decide to be a reliable person? So I hope that gives you something to kind of consider and think about. This is a short episode. It's kind of an experiment. There's no guest. I usually have a guest, but this is just a short one. It's kind of a thought of the day. So I hope it's food for thought. And also, if you're following the development of Better Me, my board game, which is Better Me, the Game of Growth, you can go to bettermegame.com. It's getting very close. The whole manufacturing process has taken longer than expected, but all the components are printed now. It's just a matter of putting the glossy finish on all the paper products and things and boxing everything up, shrink wrapping it, and then it's getting on a plane and a boat and coming over to the U.S. and it'll be at Amazon's warehouses here soon. So thanks for your patience with that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's hard to sum up actually, but it's a personal development board game. If you've ever played Robert Kiyosaki's game called Cash Flow, which is an educational game, Better Me, I look at it as sort of like the whole life version of a cash flow game. It's like if a personal development book like The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, if that was instead in the form of a board game, it would be this game. So it's available to buy. It's also available totally free. You can play it. The cards are on a random card generator that you can put on your smartphone or your iPad or whatever. It's just there at the site, and you can print the board so you can actually play the game totally free. So go check it out. Again, that's bettermegame.com. Thanks for checking out this episode, you guys. Sorry it's been so long. I'll try to be more consistent in the future. That is not a promise because I do want to be reliable, as we've talked about. Honestly, this podcast is kind of a fun hobby for me. It's not something that is my number one priority. So anyway, I hope you got something out of it. The goal of each episode is that you walk away with a gem that you can actually use and apply in your life. So take care, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab your pen and paper and write down 3 things you're grateful for. This is OD on Life. Come get high with us.